Hey, 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 everybody. What I want to talk about today is how we beg to be used and we do not know it. We don't realize it. What happens is when we are practically begging to be used, we are, it happens where if you meet someone who isn't showing interest or isn't putting forth the effort, and you continue to pursue that person, that is where you begin to beg to be used. Okay? And let me explain that. Because what can happen is if a person isn't putting forth the effort, then that means that they don't have the motivation to build with you. Okay? For whatever reason, they're not motivated to create anything with you or to be really serious. They're not serious. Okay? Nobody is serious about you that is not putting forth the effort. The fact that they're serious is what would make them put forth the effort. Now, there are exceptions where a person is being deceptive. You can meet a person who's doing things only to deceive you. Okay? But most of the time, that's not the case. Most of the time, the fact that a person doesn't care about you is pretty obvious. Okay, but when you refuse to look at that and you refuse to look at all of the things that are showing you that this person's level of interest is not high, and you continue to pursue that person, you are begging to be used. Because when they're not doing that, they're showing you they don't have the interest. They're showing you, a lot of times the person is showing you they don't care. If you look at their behavior in an objective way, okay, without getting caught up in how you feel towards them, and you just look at how they feel towards you, you will see that they don't care. But when you don't listen to that, what you're doing is you're giving and continuing to pursue in hopes that you can change their mind. Well, most of the time that's not going to happen, okay? So what ends up happening is it puts that person in a situation where they have to decide whether to benefit from you or not. Now, depending on where they are, you can have a person who had no intentions of using you, okay? They just weren't interested. They weren't really there. They weren't putting forth that effort, and you continue to pursue them. And if they're at a certain place in their life with what you're offering them, they can benefit from and they need it, they may begin to respond to you based off of that. Okay, where they can get this, whatever it is that they need, they can go ahead and get it because this is an easy place to get it. Okay, it's like having a person on speed dial. It's like having like someone's interested in you and say, for instance, they're giving you money. And even though you hardly ever call them, like you're just not interested, you're not showing any interest, your energy isn't directed towards them. You're not focusing on them in your life. And then they're offering you money, but if you need it, then every time it's like having this person on speed dial that you can just call and get money from, or that you can just call and get sex from, or you can just call and get whatever it is that you're wanting from. Some people will do that, okay? And you will think that they're responding to you because they are interested now. And that's not the case. You're being used. But this is the thing. We have to approach things from an empowered place and take responsibility for our own behavior. So when we find ourselves in a situation, relationship-wise, 9 times out of 10, we had the opportunity to love ourselves enough to avoid certain situations, to pay attention to what we were seeing, all of the red flags, to pay attention that this person really wasn't interested. So for us to proceed, anytime that you ever feel like you've been used, you have to look back. And most times in that situation, you were begging to be used. And that's what's happening anytime you're pursuing a person who's not really showing any interest. You're basically saying, okay, I can see that you aren't interested in me, that you don't care about me. I'm not a number one priority to you. I'm not important to you. You don't value having a relationship with me enough to invest anything in it. But I'm going to still be here and give to you in hopes that one day you will. And you will see it. So basically you're saying, if you want to use me, I'm here. Okay, so when the person does, you don't want to, it's not all on them, because think about this. When it's a person like that, say for instance, you just stop, okay? They're not showing interest. You just stop and you go away. You're like, okay, well, you just stop calling them. You don't offer anything. You don't put any effort into them the same way they're doing you. Well, if that person doesn't care, guess what? It's not there. That's not going to matter to them. Okay, so guess what? You escaped being used. You escaped that person benefiting off of you because it was easy and they could. So it ends there. But you should be glad that it ends there versus, being upset. Because a lot of times when you're upset and you're wanting something, you're really just wanting to be used because this person doesn't feel that way. This person doesn't have that level of interest. So when you continue to want someone who doesn't have that level of interest, you're kind of just begging that person to use you. You're putting yourself out there to be benefited from. So you can take responsibility and look at those situations, forgive those people, and forgive yourself. Okay? Because you can't just look at it like, well, they should have vehemently refused. Or, people have different ways, and depending on where they are in their life, people respond to things like that differently at different times in their life. So you never want to put yourself in a position where you're just begging to be used. Okay? So that's that, guys. I hope that was insightful. And guys, remember, we have the new boot camp, Rise of the Divine Feminine Boot Camp, where we are going from the karmic cycle into being the divine feminine. I recommend that you sign up for the boot camp. Remember, my boot camps are live one time only. Okay, so it starts on April 8th. And if you cannot attend one of the live sessions, you will receive a recording of it. Okay, so you won't miss any sessions if you can't attend every single live session. There's a total of 6 sessions in that boot camp. Okay, so I hope to see you guys there. Bye.